beautiful people, and welcome back to another video. My name is Jordan. If you are new here, I am a professional figure skater and I have been working and living on board cruise ships for the past 5 years. Today is a show day. It's been a very eventful day to say the least, but it is time for me to do my makeup, so I thought that we would have a little chit chat while I get ready. I can show you the process. It doesn't take me too long. It takes me about 45 minutes to do full glam for the show. And I also thought I would answer some of your questions that you guys sent in on Instagram. So if you have an Instagram and you're not following me, I will have it linked below. That is where I do a lot of my polls and have you guys submit questions for upcoming Q&As and things like that. So I got a lot of responses and I don't think I'm going to be able to get to them all, but we've got our makeup and let's get into it. There's a lot of new faces on here, so I thought that it was a good time to do like an updated Q&A. I might go over some questions that I've already answered just in case you are new here and you aren't familiar with the answers. We'll go over some other stuff too, but thank you guys for sending in the questions. I got so many and I really do enjoy filming Q&As, so if you want to see more of them more frequently, I am more than happy to do that. I'll also have all the products I'm using in this video. I'll have them linked below in case you guys want to try them out for yourself. This foundation is my favorite thing ever. I love it. It smells amazing. It feels so nice on the skin. But I digress. First question is going to be the most commonly asked question, and that is, what are my plans after this contract? Where am I going next? Am I doing another contract? All that. I got about 100 of these questions asking, and I know you guys want to know, and I want to share it with you as well, but unfortunately I can't share that information just yet because things are still getting organized, and obviously I'm still here until the first week of March. So I will be doing another contract after this, so this is not my last contract, but I can't give any more information aside from that. Right now, I know you guys are gonna kill me. I apologize that it's so vague and I've really given you no answers, but I am doing another contract, so there will be more ship content very soon. Do not worry about that. And I will give details at a later date about when I start, what ship, the itinerary, yada yada yada. Next question. How much time will you have in between your contracts? Are you going to travel? So I actually still don't know the exact amount of time that I'm going to have in between my contracts, but it will be more or less probably 2-ish months, I think. But again, I don't have all the specifics as of right now. However, I do know my plans in the meantime during my vacation. I do have a couple trips planned, which I'm very excited about. My brother lives in New York City. If you don't know, I have a brother. He's not camera friendly at all. He absolutely hates being on camera, so that's probably why you don't know I have a brother, because he just doesn't like to be on camera and I want to respect his privacy. He also lives in New York City, so he's never in Buffalo when I am, but he is 3 years older than me. So he lives in New York City, and my mom and I have planned a trip to visit him for a weekend. So we will be going for 3 days, which I'm so excited about. My mom actually just booked the flights yesterday, so it is confirmed, and hopefully we'll do some fun sightseeing stuff when we are there. I've been to New York City a billion times because I used to always go there for skating competitions multiple times a year, and now we visit my brother all the time, so I'm very excited to go back. I'm also traveling to England, and I'm gonna be staying with Callum for 2 weeks, which will be really nice. I am still in the process of getting some things sorted, but I am scheduled to be working with a property in Switzerland. So I'm going to be visiting Switzerland for the first time with Callum. We're going to go for 2 or 3 days, and that is going to be just an absolute dream. I can't believe that those words are coming out of my mouth, but I'm so excited to be working with hotel, and it's going to be amazing. I'm still waiting on some final details about that, but it's very exciting. Other than that, I'm just going to be spending a lot of time with my parents, the rest of my family, Coco, my friends, and just relaxing. Is there a chiropractor on board for performers? There is not. The lack of treatment for the entertainers is actually astounding. Like, I completely disagree with the way they go about it, I guess. We don't have a physio on board. We don't have a chiropractor. We don't really have anything aside from the medical facility, but they're just general doctors and they aren't specialized in sports injuries. So we really don't get much help on board, and we don't get anything for, you know, preventative action or rehab or anything like that. So that is definitely disappointing, and I really think that we should, because our job is very demanding. It is time for the fun eyeshadow. Just look at this palette. I'll have it linked. It's so much fun. It is a little bit out there, but I personally love playing around with the colors for the show. I can't really change up my look as much as I did on Wonder. On Wonder, I really was able to experiment with a bunch of different colors because all of the costumes were different colors, whereas here, most of my costumes are all in the same color scheme. Next question, is Callum signing off the same time as you? He actually is. His original contract end date was going to be like January 20 something, I can't remember exactly, but before he even signed on the ship, they had offered an extension to sign off with me on the same day, and of course he accepted. So he is here with me until sign off day on March 8th, which is super fun. And it just makes things a lot easier for us both, because it is always very hard to leave the other one on board on your own sign-off day. Like, signing off of Voyager was so sad because he still had like a month. No, he had like 2 months left still. How do you know when you'll be performing? Does this stay the same for each cruise or change? For the most part, it stays the same. There is this thing called the grid, so it's kind of like a layout of all of the different shows for that cruise and how they are going to fit together, so no shows are at the exact same time, especially when you want multiple shows in the same venue. Our schedule for a 9-day cruise versus a 5-day cruise is a little bit different, obviously, because it's a longer cruise. But as of right now, we always have shows on day 1, which is kind of a bummer because it takes away our port time in Miami, especially if we have muster, then it's a very busy day. But for the most part, it stays the same. The times usually stay the same. Most of our shows are at 7 and 9 or 7 and 9:15. This cruise is like a half charter, so it is a little bit different. Right now, our schedule is a little bit whack. Like day 1, our shows were 6 and 7:45, and today they are 5:45 and 7:45. So that's kind of random, but for the most part, they do stay the same, and we get our schedules from the ice captain the night before the upcoming cruise for the entire cruise, so we already know what's going on. But as I mentioned a billion times, things can change at a moment's notice. So just because the schedule says it doesn't mean that might actually happen. You just gotta go with the flow. Can you describe what a day in your boyfriend's life is like working on the cruise? He has a very busy schedule. His C days can be probably 10-hour work days. He usually starts, oh, that's weird. He usually starts work around 7 o'clock. 7:30 depending on the day. If it's a sea day, he'll be finished by like 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening. If it's a port day, really depends on the day. Sometimes he has like 4 hours of work in the morning, and then he has a break in the afternoon, and then he'll have to go back and finish anywhere from 9 to 10 o'clock at night. But it just kind of depends on the port, the all aboard time, and also the manager and the supervisor and how they create the schedule. On a Voyager class ship, which is what we're on right now, the main activities are the rock wall and the flow rider. And they also have to run different tournaments, and they can also teach flow rider lessons. Oh my god, it is so rocky. Okay, we just hit a big wave. He works many, many hours, and unfortunately, this contract he hasn't really gotten much port time. So we do still get off together, but he usually doesn't have much time out. Since we're already on the topic of my boyfriend, the next question says, how is living on board with your boyfriend stressful versus improving your relationship? I feel like you'd have to ask him that question as well. But personally, I think that it's strengthening our relationship. I kind of feel like if you can be happy in this environment together and this living condition together, that we'll be able to withstand anything, because it is a very challenging, stressful environment. And again, we live in very close quarters. Like, we share a tiny, tiny space. So you really don't have a bunch of alone time or like time apart, I personally think that it's making our relationship even stronger, and there is nothing that I cannot go to him about. You know what I mean? Like, I trust him with my life, and he is the first, oh my god. I'm not crying, I didn't blink for a while, now my eyes watering. Anyways, at the end of the day, he's my best friend. He is the first person I go to with any news. Like, he is the first person I want to tell. And again, like, we just get a lot of quality time together, which is really, really nice, and I value that so much. Why do ice contracts not rehearse in Miami like other production areas? The reason being is that I am hired through Willie B Tech Productions, which is its own company, and it's separate from Royal Caribbean. We are Royal Caribbean employees, and they do announce us as the Royal Caribbean Ice Cast, but we are hired through Willie B Tech, and they provide the show and the skaters for the ships. There is no ice facility in Bay Vista or anywhere around Miami for us to rehearse in, so we just install the show once we sign on the ship. Favorite port you have ever been to? Oh my gosh, this is a very loaded question. I don't know. Oh my god. There's been so many good ports. I can't even decide. I think I'll have to say Stockholm. That might be my favorite port just because there is so much to do. You know what? I'm gonna go with Stockholm because it is one of my favorite ports. We got to visit it so often, and there was still so many things to do. Like, I did different activities every single time, and it was just gorgeous. So that's what I'm gonna say. If you weren't an ice skater on board, what other cruise job would you like to do? Maybe a cruise staff. That'd probably be fun. They run all the activities. I'm a sucker for a good activity, and I like to meet people and socialize, so I feel like I'd be pretty good at that. I feel like cruise director would be fun. It's a lot of work, but seems like a fun job. How many hours do you work each week between skating, YouTube, and Wi-Fi? Oh dear. I really don't know if I can give you an exact number. I would probably guess anywhere from 30 to 40 hours a week. That's just a random guess. Honestly, I should probably log how many hours I edit in a week, because editing is very time consuming, especially when you're a perfectionist and you want everything to look a certain way. If you guys ever want to see a process in depth of how I edit my videos, I would honestly love to do that. I feel like that would be a lot of fun. So let me know if that's something you would be interested in. How long do you think you'll perform on ships? I really don't know. I think that my next contract might be my final ship contract. Never say never, of course. That is where we are at right now. That's, I think, the plan. The last finishing touch is just the lipstick, and we should be good to go. I always like to brush my teeth right before I put on my lipstick. Alright, I think we're good to go. Like I said, I'll have everything linked below, but I do want to answer a few more questions before heading to notes. So, next question we've got is, have you ever experienced the ship turning off its lights to not attract attention from pirates? I saw a video of a cruise ship turning off all the electric so the pirates nearby wouldn't see them. That is wild. That is absolutely crazy. I have never experienced that. I hope I never experience that, because that is terrifying. Yeah, no. It's never happened to me, and I really hope it never does. How have you been able to work up to running multiple miles? I want to start following the Nike Run Club. I think that's what it's called, so that'll be a better plan for me to follow. But I've found some plans online that I've been kind of following, but the biggest thing I can say is don't start too big. Like, start small and slowly make changes. So the thing that's helping me is running at a pace that I'm comfortable with. It's not like a sprint, but it's also not super easy where it's just a light jog. So I'm finding that happy medium where I'm still running and keeping my heart rate up, but it's not impossible to continue with. You want to be at a pace that you can continue running on and on and on and on. Another thing, invest in quality shoes. This is something I've never ever done until recently. I just got a pair of Asics and I've been loving them, and I have noticed a huge difference in running with quality sneakers versus just a random shoe. Like, these shoes are meant for running, so I think that makes a big difference. And also, I think slowly adding distance helps as well. You don't want to go 2 miles, the next day 3 miles, the next day 4 miles, the next day 5 miles, so on and so forth. I really don't think that that is going to be helpful in the long run, and I don't think it's sustainable. So I usually try to up my distance by half a mile every 5 days, 6 days, something like that. Again, take it with a grain of salt. I am not a professional runner. I am just an athlete that wants to get into running, so this is just what I'm doing, but I'm really doing a lot of trial and error. Have you or someone else ever fallen during a show? What happens then? Yeah, falling happens. It's normal because we are on a moving cruise ship and we are jumping and rotating the air at very fast velocities. So, you know, things happen. I don't fall that frequently. Like, I rarely fall on elements. If I fall, it's usually like on something silly, like a crossover, or I just trip on something random. But you just have to get up and keep going. Just same goes in life. Like, if you make a mistake, if you fall, you just gotta get yourself back up and continue on. Favorite part about working on ships? Aside from getting to perform, my favorite part of working on the ship is the travel by far. Getting to see so many different places all around the world has been the greatest gift I could ask for. And I'm so lucky that I've been able to see so many different places. I think that it's kind of rare for skaters. We're kind of limited in where we can skate, like what ships, and there's very limited itineraries outside of the Caribbean, so I've been very, very fortunate. Had you ever been on a cruise ship before signing for your first contract? I actually went on a cruise on the Oasis. I don't know what year it was, but I was about 14 or 13, and I went with one of my best friends and her entire family. We have a bunch more questions, but I do need to run to notes now for our shows, so we will revisit this in between shows if I have time. But I should have time to answer a couple more questions. So I will see you after the first show. And we're back. For you, it was like 2 minutes, but for me, I just did a full ice show. But as promised, we are resuming the questions. I don't have much time before our next show notes, so I don't know how many I'm gonna get through, but I'm gonna try and do like a speed round, if you will. Do your legs feel weird once you get back on land? This is actually a really good question. As weird as it sounds, yes. Like, I kind of forget that I'm not on a ship at sometimes, especially because I've kind of been going back to back to back to back contracts. Like, I really haven't spent much time on land in between my contracts, so I'm really used to being at sea majority of the time. And some days I'll be walking or just in my house and I'll feel like there's a rock, but there's not. It's just me going crazy. It definitely is a weird adjustment the first couple days, and then you get used to it, of course, but every once in a while it just comes out of nowhere and you just feel like you are balancing on a ship. I don't know, really bizarre. Love your content. Why do you crew members still wear your name tags even if you are off? So we are required to wear name tags if we are in guest areas on duty or off duty. So the only people who don't have to wear a name tag when they are in guest areas off duty are the singers and guest entertainers. Guest entertainers don't have name tags, so they don't need to wear them. And then the singers have the privilege of not wearing a name badge. Why they don't have to, I don't quite understand that, but as an IceCast member or anyone else that works on the ship as a crew member, you have to wear your name tag. We are allowed to take off the name badge if we are eating, so once we've sat down at like a restaurant or Windjammer, we're also allowed to take it off when we watch a show. Would you ever do social media full-time and quit the cruise life? I really want to pursue social media full-time, and I'm at a point where I definitely can have social media as my full-time job. Right now, I'm literally balancing 2 full-time jobs, social media and working on the ship. Of course, I don't plan on working on board forever, so I'm hoping to make that transition and get more into the like travel industry with my content. So that's why a lot of my videos are kind of geared more towards that. Yeah, I love social media. I love videoing, photographing. So if I could do that full-time, that would be phenomenal. Will you still be on board Explorer in June 2024? We're taking the Greece cruise from Venice. I wish, but no, I will not be. I sign off March 8th. I know some ships do room checks. Do you have them? Yes, we have weekly or monthly cabin inspections. They are random, so you don't know when you are gonna get your cabin inspected, but it's always after drill. So if we have drill a specific day, cabin inspection will take place afterwards. So you have to make sure that your room is nice and tidy because someone will come and inspect it to make sure that it's clean, that there's no trash in the room, and then they also check your fridge. And they also check if your lights are on, so you have to conserve the energy and turn your lights off when you're not in the room. How often do you need to sharpen your skates? I think I sharpen my skates once a month, give or take, unless I get like a random nick in it, and a lot of times I get like a nick in my blade from the glice exiting during the show because we have to leave and enter very quickly. When I'm home, it's probably like every 6 to 7 weeks, like if I'm not doing a show. But yeah, it's usually once a month. Best place you have visited in the Caribbean? I really loved Aruba. I would like to go back there because we only had one full day there. That was an amazing port, but I think San Juan takes the cake for me. I really would love to see more of Puerto Rico. I've only been in Old Town of San Juan and also the newer bit, but I just love it. So, I mean, there's so many amazing places, it's really hard to pick. Did you ever compete on the elite level? There's no such thing as elite level for figure skating. I did compete at senior, which is the highest level, and I was senior from age 14 until I retired competitively when I was 20, and I retired that age because I had hip surgery. So yeah, I competed senior for 6 years, and I competed internationally and nationally. How is Gab doing? I miss seeing you guys together on the ship. I miss Gab so much. He's doing amazing. He is thriving. He is the principal boy in Holiday on Ice. So this is his second year on tour, and he's living the dream. He's an amazing skater and he deserves it more than anyone. Like, he's such a hard worker and he is an amazing skater, an amazing person. And yeah, he's been traveling and he's the principal there. So I haven't been able to see him in a while, which is sad, but he's doing really well. Do you get money allowance for makeup and hair products for shows? No, we get absolutely nothing. We don't get reimbursed whatsoever. I do submit all my receipts with my taxes at the end of the year, but we don't get like a certain allowance to spend on products from the ship. We're just required to have our own. And the same thing goes for skates. We have to pay for our own skates and blades. Any plans for and who are you rooting for in the Super Bowl? I am rooting for nobody because the Bills aren't in the Super Bowl, and I really don't want the Chiefs to win, so I'm gonna have to go with San Francisco. But I'm not happy about it. And we don't have any plans. I want to do something fun. Maybe we can have a little get together and watch it. I don't think we're gonna have shows that night, so maybe I can put something together. Did you have to get any clearance from Royal Caribbean to vlog on board and in staff areas? I did not, but I am very careful about what I show because there's certain things that we really are not allowed to film, but most of it is fine. How does Wi-Fi work on the ship? Are you able to talk and text loved ones every day? So this is kind of newish. Since the restart after COVID in 2021, they introduced WhatsApp that works with our crew Wi-Fi. So we have to pay for internet, and that is for social media, emails, like calling, things like that. However, we have WhatsApp, so we can send text messages back and forth to anyone either on the ship or somewhere else in the world for free, and it works with the free Wi-Fi. So that is such a nice bonus. It is a way for us to feel way more connected. I'm able to regularly text my parents whenever, my friends at home. It just makes things a lot easier because before that we did not have that option. So like the only way to contact them was to purchase Wi-Fi minutes or obviously work for them and log into that. So I am grateful for that, but we can't make phone calls with it, only texts. Have you and Callum talked about your future moving to the UK/Buffalo? We've definitely talked about it since like the beginning. Because of our circumstances, we live in different continents. You kind of have to talk about that stuff like right away. We don't know exactly what we're gonna do yet. He's always wanted to live in Canada or the States, so I think down the road we'll probably settle in the US somewhere, but we also both want to travel a lot, so maybe living in different countries for like shorter periods of time, like an extended stay, so longer than a vacation but not like 5 years, if you know what I mean. But we both have the travel bug and we love to travel, so we want to experience different countries. Right now we have no idea what's next, but we're definitely discussing it. What age would you want to get married? I don't know. I don't really have like a specific age. I feel like 28, 29 would be ideal for me, but who knows, you know? There's no rush. What do you think about the new ice rink on Icon? It looks insane. I have quite a few friends in the cast. It looks really, really big and the venue's really nice, but it is definitely way different because it is round, so I can imagine blocking and like spacing and stuff is probably interesting. Visually, I don't know how the show would look because it's not like downstage, stage left and stage right, but it does look very, very cool. I will say that. Are there any privacy for quick changes backstage? No, there are none. No, doesn't exist. You simply do not have enough time to have privacy. You get off the ice, you run, you get your clothes off, jump into the next costume, you get zipped up, and you run back out. Like, there is not enough time to just sit around. And everyone is too involved in their own thing to even be worrying about that. Okay, for my final question of the video, do you miss home? Do you have Wi-Fi on board? And do you need to pay for it? I mean, I'm not homesick per se, but I definitely miss certain aspects of being home. Like, I miss my family, my dog, my friends. I like having a house and a kitchen. Like, I do miss cooking and sitting on a couch and, you know, getting to run errands when I need to easily. But overall, like, I don't miss being home. I'm not homesick. When you're home, you miss the ship, and when you're on the ship, you kind of miss home. So no matter where you are, there's pros and cons. We have Wi-Fi on board. It's not nearly as fast as Wi-Fi you would have on land, and we do have to pay for it. It's very expensive. It's $4 per 60 minutes of internet. So it is very expensive, and I really don't ever plan to buy internet. I do help set up Wi-Fi for the guests on turnaround day, and the Wi-Fi specialist basically pays me in minutes. So I get 5 hours of Wi-Fi for 1 hour of work, which is nice. But again, things load very slowly, so it probably takes 2 or 3 times as long to do anything on the internet than it would if you were just home. I think that's a lot of questions. I hope this was informative, and if you have been around, I hope that this was interesting for you. If you're new here, I hope you learned a lot about me, my job, my life. If you want me to do a specific type of Q&A, I'm thinking of filming a video about finances, budgeting, just everything revolving around money, specifically like how I save my money on the ship and things like that. So drop your questions below for that if you are interested. But thank you guys so much for watching. I love you to the moon back. I hope you have a great day whenever you're watching this, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.